Hello, welcome to class. We are making chicken marsala. So let's grab our chicken breasts. We're going to pound them down to a 1/4 inch thickness. Since this is a demonstration, I'm only going to be doing 2 chicken breasts, but you will be doing 4. So if you need to stop and then restart the video so you can catch up, feel free to do that. All right, so we have our chicken breasts. I already started pounding these out. And you can take a chicken mallet or a meat mallet, and you can get these at the Dollar Tree, also Walmart, things like that. They're very inexpensive. And then you just pound out your chicken, and you're going to want a 1/2 inch thickness. So like I said, I started this before class. Just pound it out. And I will let you pause the video now so you can finish pounding out your chicken breast to about a 1/2 inch, and then come on back and we'll finish the next step. All right, so welcome back. Now we are going to get the breading ready. So we are going to need 1/2 a cup of flour. When you see a recipe, a big C stands for cup. We're going to get 1/2 a cup of flour. So that'll be the 1/2. 1/2. It's a little hard to see. And you want just a nice, even. If it gets too big, you can go ahead and take a knife and just smooth it out, get rid of the excess. And then you're going to put that in like a bowl. I have a nice flat Tupperware. This is going to work really good for dipping the chicken in. Next, we're going to need 1 teaspoon kosher salt. You can use regular salt too, but this is just a more authentic way of making it. So for our salt, I'm using kosher salt. We're going to need 1 teaspoon. And that'll be 1 TSP. Or 1 with a small t. So it's a little hard to see, but 1 TSP. It's labeled. And go ahead and get your salt in there. Again, that's 1 teaspoon of salt. Nice and flat and level. Then we're going to move on to our pepper. Let me go grab that real quick. For our pepper, we want to add in 1/2 teaspoon. So that is going to be 1/2 TSP. These are nice and labeled. If you use just a standard spoon, like the smaller one in your kitchen set, they're not as accurate. It is better to use actual measuring spoons. But some people, if you don't have these, you can use the teaspoon or a tablespoon, but your measurements will be a little bit off, most likely. All right, so 1/2 teaspoon of pepper right on in there. Next, we go on to our garlic powder. And you can sprinkle it. I like to make sure that it's a little bit accurate according to the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and open on up. Giving me a hard time. All right, so our garlic powder, we need 1/2 teaspoon. And as you get more experienced as a cook, you can kind of adjust how much you put in. You can kind of tell if it's going to be too garlicky, not garlicky enough. And next, onion powder. We're going to make this nice and flavorful. So this one is already open. I'm going to finish opening it. And we need just a 1/2 teaspoon. Put that on in with your flour. And we can also add in a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. My grocery store is out of paprika and thyme, which is the THYME, but it'll still turn out all right. But if you had the paprika, go ahead and add just a 1/4 tablespoon. That's a 1/4, a 1/4 teaspoon, not a lot of it. So we have our oil that we need to get ready. So now we are going to get our skillet and put our oil in here. We're going to take about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So go ahead and put that on in. In recipes, a capital T or TBS means tablespoon. Let's add 2 tablespoons. And to make this extra delicious, we are going to add in 3 tablespoons of butter. Now we want to turn our stove onto medium heat. For me, that's a 3. For you, it's probably a 5 or an MED. So turn that on. We're going to let this start to heat up. And let me grab a spoon real quick, guys. We are just going to mix the flour mixture up to get all those seasons mixed in nicely. There we go. Distribute it all throughout there. And if you run out of flour, you can always redo the flour mixture if you run out. This should be enough. All right, now as this is heating up, we're going to put our chicken in here and just lightly coat both sides. So this has a little bit of spaces that I want to fill in. Just get it all nicely coated. And then we are going to sear it by placing it in the hot oil. And I'm going to set this aside while this is heating up a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a plate. And that just gives the oil a little bit of time to heat up. So put this on a plate. And we are going to move on and coat the other chicken breast that we have. Let me lower you guys a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And just coat both sides. And if you need to, just sprinkle it on top. Get it in all those crevices. There we go. All right. So I got both of these. Now I am going to place it into my hot skillet. The one thing we do not want to do is crowd our chicken. So if you need to use 2 skillets or 2 pots, please do that. Don't crowd it in or take turns. Do 2 first and then the other 2. Definitely don't want to get it crowded because chicken you definitely want to cook through. So here you can see I got it in there cooking on up. We're going to do about 6 minutes on each side, 6 to 8 minutes. So I'll be cooking with you guys. And let me get some of this stuff out of the way. It's always good to clean as you go. You will want an extra plate once this is done. So let me get Mr. Moo, our timer. And we'll do about 6 minutes for that. And let me wash my hands and then we'll talk a little bit about cooking, some cool, exciting things about learning how to cook. Feel free to wash your hands at the same time. And we are just letting that cook on down, so that gives us a chance to wash our hands. If you would like, you can also clean up, put a few things away that you won't be using anymore. All right, so we're going to need some mushrooms, and it is okay to omit to not add in the mushrooms, but chicken marsala is known for having mushrooms. There's all different kinds of mushrooms you can use, but it is okay to use different kinds. There's portobello, there's all kinds of different mushrooms. So I just have these that are pre-sliced. I got lucky they were on sale, but if you are cutting your mushrooms, take a little smidge off the top or the stem, and so it's nice and fresh. So you just take off that little stem piece. I'm going to go ahead and open my mushrooms up, get those prepared. Now we're going to want to make sure that we have all the stuff that we need for our Marsala sauce. And this is a very classy meal that would be good for company. And so we have our chicken flour prepared. We have our chickens ready to cook. Let's do about 3 to 4 minutes on each side for the chicken. We'll check it there. All right. What you're going to need, we might as well get it ready now. We're going to need our mushrooms and our garlic. So this recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic. Those are those little shapes, those little teardrops. And you're going to need 2 of those. Let me show you what I use. It is a little bit easier. You can also use minced garlic. This is pre-cut. You can see the little tiny pieces. So if you are cutting the clove, cut it nice and tiny, or you can use this. It's better to use the cloves, but sometimes it is okay to do some substitutions. All right, so we have our garlic. You're going to want to have Marsala wine. This cooks down, and there's it cooks off all the alcohol, so it is okay for kids to eat it. There's no alcohol once it cooks through, and you don't want to drink it. It's not going to taste good anyways. It only tastes good when you put it in the sauce. It's a cooking wine. It's not a drinking wine. So we're going to also want our chicken broth ready. Make sure you have that. A teaspoon of chicken bouillon. I have mine where they come in little cubes. 1 teaspoon is 1 cube. So if you want, you can start opening that up, getting it ready, and then just placing it right back on top of the foil. So if you have the powdered kind, that's totally fine. You're going to want 1 teaspoon. I'll go over that when we're putting it in the pan. But get your bouillon ready. Then, are you guys able to say Worcestershire? This is Worcestershire sauce. And I just recently started cooking with this. My dad used to use it all the time, but I really like the flavor. It's really worth adding this. So let's go ahead and flip our chicken. Be really careful because this will be hot. You definitely don't want to get burned. All right, so the one thing you want to do, if you have handles that heat up, make sure you use a hot pad or an oven mitt. Mine do not heat up. Mine are safe. Let me bring you a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. And we're just going to flip this over. Just be careful because we got hot oil in there. And I can tell already I'm going to need to cook that one side a little bit more, and I'll show you why. So when I flipped it, you can see right in here, it's still pink. And that's because that little piece was folded over. So that's the one thing with cooking is you got to make sure that the meat is done And recipes are a good guideline, but sometimes we need to adjust and also make sure. Sometimes you can cut into it to make sure it's white throughout where there's no pink left. But we have Mr. Moo. He is set for another 3 to 4 minutes. And let's finish making sure we have everything. So we left off at Dijon mustard. We also want our thyme, Thyme. It looks like thyme, but it is pronounced thyme. Cornstarch. Cornstarch thickens things. You can use it for gravy. I used it today when I made strawberry cheesecake cups. In the strawberry sauce, I added strawberries, sugar, water, and a little bit of cornstarch to kind of thicken it. You almost never need a lot of this, but it makes a difference. So it'll help thicken our sauce. Then we're going to need 2 tablespoons of cold water at the end. And a little bit more butter. And you can add parsley, that is optional. Some people like it because it freshens your breath after you eat it. And it also looks good. It's also like a garnish, which means it makes it fancy. So let's get that ready, and just a few more minutes and we can move on to the next step. So you should have your plate ready. You should be cutting your mushrooms, getting those prepared, and also mushrooms, a plate for your chicken. And we're going to use the same skillet to make our sauce. So some people like to have mashed potatoes with this chicken marsala. You can also use buttered noodles. I'd like to know in the classroom. Feel free to leave a comment of what it is that you like to add. Also for vegetables. I'm not an asparagus eater, but that would go really well with this. I like broccoli. The color of green would make this look really beautiful on a plate. So I'd like to know what you guys would add with this. You can also have garlic bread, a side salad. And Mr. Moo says it's time to check our chicken. I'm going to flip it over because I think it's going to need a few more minutes. It's getting there though. And like I said, your chicken might be a little thicker or thinner than mine. So let's take a little peek at how it's doing. Yeah, this needs a little bit more time. That's why I said 6 minutes or so. But we'll get this going a little bit more. We'll do about 3.5 minutes on this side. And definitely want to make sure the chicken is cooked through. So as we're doing this, I can show you what we did. I have added on a no-bake dessert class. I also have breakfast buddies, and there's going to be some baking. But let me show you what we made today in our cooking club. This would be the perfect dessert. It's little cheesecake cups. So as I was telling you, we made that sauce. It has like a syrup. You can see the syrup coming down here. And that had the cornstarch. It's smelling good, guys. So in the classroom, if you can let me know some of the things that you've cooked before. Some of you are brand new to cooking, and some of you have been cooking for a while. But I suggest that you print out the cooking sheet. So put it in a folder and create your own cookbook that you can have for years to come. If you would like, I can even design a cookbook cover for you. You can use those plastic folders that have the sleeve where you can put a paper in. So let me know. I can get that set up for you. This is cooking on down. See, it's like I can tell when it's about to go off. All right, we have that. I am going to flip it over. Make sure you hold on to your pan so it doesn't get out of control. I think I want to do about 3 or 4 more minutes on this side. Now, if you are going to be cooking rice or noodles, go ahead and get that started now. So for your noodles, you're going to want to heat your water up first. You want to bring it to a boil before you add in your noodles. That way your noodles don't get all sticky and clumped together. So you can go ahead and fill up a pot full of water and put it on your stove to heat up. It'll take a few minutes before you're ready to put the noodles in. If you are doing rice, make sure you read the instructions on your package and have it where it's covered too, so it can kind of simmer. Usually takes around 20 minutes for rice. So we're about there, almost there. And you'll have to set your own timer for the rice. Curious on what side dishes you guys are thinking about. During this time too, if you want to cut up your salad, and a lot of people like tomatoes and cucumbers. Some people put onions. And I like to add cheese, bacon bits, dried cranberries, and almond slices in my salad. And if you're getting ready to bake some garlic bread, you can start preheating your oven for that as well. And that's the one thing with cooking is you learn how to time everything. So by the time we have our chicken done, you should be able to put your noodles in. And we just have a few more minutes on the chicken. See? All right, let's cut into it and make sure. You definitely want to make sure it's not undercooked. Mine might be done. Let's see. Pretty much done. I like to cook it just a little bit more just to make sure. So mine looks done, but I want to give it like another minute. Then we're going to place it onto our plate. And I have some tin foil. I'll get that ready now. So after we pull our chicken off of the burner, we're going to take a sheet of tin foil and cover the chicken. Helps keep it warm until we're ready to use it again. All right. Just want to make sure the chicken is ready. So one thing too that you can do is write down anytime there are variations. Let's say you decide you like the thick chicken and it takes longer to cook. You can write little notes in your own personal cookbook. So I suggest that you really do keep this. This will be a great heirloom that you can pass down to your children if you ever have it, nieces, nephews. You can copy it. Feel free to print out as many copies. This would be a great Christmas or Hanukkah gift that you save. So I don't mind you printing out the recipes and giving them to your family members as gifts. And decorate the outside of the cookbook. And I think that's a great gift. All right, so this should be about done. Should have a little golden color to it. Gonna get my plate and carefully take the chicken out. It is so tender. Is your chicken nice and tender? That's part of why we were pounding it out. Then I'm going to take my tin foil, wrap that chicken up. All right, so we're going to leave the juices in here. We want that for the next portion. And we're going to add in the things that we need for our sauce. Okay, so now let's do our mushrooms. Okay, so we want 1 tablespoon of butter. Let me show you one thing. When you have your butter sticks, if you look at them, it says right on there, like 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3, 4, and that helps you. You can just cut 1 tablespoon. You can either measure it or just kind of chop it. And then let's say this is gone, and you just, this one will be 1. You need 2 more, just cut those off. So that makes it nice and easy. I'm gonna eyeball it because I've been doing this for a while. But I'm gonna take my butter, put 1 tablespoon into your skillet. And then we're going to take our sliced mushrooms and add that in. And we're going to kind of cook this down for about 6 to 8 minutes. Those mushrooms are going to absorb the juices and also the butter. One sec. Let's put in our, one sec, guys. Yeah, let's put in our garlic now. So I'm going to do the garlic. Yours will say 2 cloves, or do about one teaspoon of garlic. If you like garlic a lot, you can use another clove or 2. That is completely fine. So for this, we want to stir it. Let me let you see what I got going on. Let's stir it so we can coat those mushrooms. I'll get this out of the way so you guys can see a little bit better. Let's see if I raise it. That's a little better. Just get that all nice and coated. We're going to let that simmer on down. And we don't have to stir it the whole time. We want to give it some time to cook and absorb. And then we'll get ready for the rest of our sauce in just a few minutes. So on your phone, you should have a timer, or you can go check the, like YouTube, just type in 5-minute timer, 8-minute timer, and they have those that you can set in the background as well. Or you can purchase Mr. Moo little timers like this. Just kitchen timers work too. You can time it on a watch. Some people have like stopwatches. But microwaves also have timers. All right, we're getting ready, guys. All right, so the next thing we're going to need in just a few minutes is our Marsala wine. So you want to get that ready. If you need to open it, go ahead and open it. And we are going to simmer it down. We're going to reduce it to half the juices. We're going to let it kind of evaporate off. That'll give it a richer flavor, more intense. And we're not quite ready for that yet, though. Stir your mushrooms. And thank you guys for cooking with me today. When we add our Marsala sauce, I also want to add in our bouillon cube. Because this needs to dissolve, I want to make sure nobody gets a big chunk of bouillon. So we'll add that at the same time as our Marsala. we're going to want 3/4 of a cup. And you probably do not have a 3/4 cup measuring cup. So we can fill it 3/4 of the way full, or this is probably the best idea, is do a 1/2 cup plus a 1/4 cup. That'll give us 3/4. So you're going to want your 1/2 cup and your 1/4 cup. So if you know fractions, that makes it easier. But you can either fill the one 3/4 of the way full, or you can do a 1/2 cup plus a 1/4 cup to get 3/4 of a cup. So we're about done with this in just a minute. It's smelling good. All right, Mr. Moo says we got another minute left. Right now, go ahead and put your noodles in your water. The water should be ready. And I will have you guys set a timer for 10 minutes. And that's about how long it takes to make noodles. If you are cooking rice, make sure that you set a timer based on your package directions. Some people also like to use mashed potatoes, whether they're instant mashed potatoes or homemade. You can make homemade mashed potatoes really easy. All right, so now we need 3/4 cup of Marsala wine. So like I said, I would suggest doing 1/2 cup. And if I'm going too fast, you can pause it, you can rewind it, and then a 1/4 cup. So it'll give us our 3/4 cup. And like I said, this will simmer down. It's okay for kids to eat it. This does have the alcohol like simmer off. Okay, so let's see. Why don't we do... You're going to reduce this, so let's do probably 3 or 4 minutes. See how that goes. Just give it some time to let the mushrooms absorb the juices. You guys are great. We're going kind of fast paced and you guys are keeping up with me. I am very, very proud of you. This is a dinner dish that a lot of grown-ups haven't even made yet. So a lot of chefs like to make this. It's found in fancy restaurants. And tell me in the classroom comments, first, have you ever tried it before? And after you eat it, if you enjoyed it, what you would do different, and if you want to try it again. So we are simmering this down. We are making our chicken marsala. We are about, I don't know, about 80% done with this meal. And are you guys getting hungry? So about another minute and a half. Like I said, if you guys need to cook it a little bit longer, that is fine too. You know, when you cook online, there are time variations. Also, different stoves have different temperature settings. So kind of follow along, make any adjustments as you need. But there you go. You can see the mushrooms cooking up nice and juicy and delicious. So your noodles should be in, your timer should be set. And like I said, I want to add in that bouillon. Add that in now so it can dissolve. Stir that in. So 1 teaspoon of bouillon powder or 1 cube of bouillon. Go ahead and add that in now. All right, if you would like to cook yours another 2 minutes to have it evaporate a little bit more, you are welcome to do that. Or we can move forward with the next step. So now we're going to want 1 teaspoon. Well, I'll do it in order for you guys. We'll do 1 cup of our chicken broth. We're just going to go down the list. 1 cup of chicken broth. Place that in there. 1 teaspoon of the Worcestershire. You guys say that? Worcestershire sauce. It's different than soy sauce. This is not the same as soy sauce. We need 1 TSP or 1 small tea. 1 teaspoon. You don't want too much of this. It's a very vibrant flavor. So just enough of it. Make sure you don't do tablespoon. You want 1 teaspoon. There we go. After that, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I have a sensitivity to mustard, so I'm going to skip that. But 1 teaspoon of the mustard and half a teaspoon of thyme. So like I said, my grocery store didn't have the thyme, so I got to skip that. All right, so we're getting that kind of simmering on down. Our mushrooms, can you smell it? All right. Now, in a separate bowl, I'm going to use like a little coffee mug. We're going to want 2 tablespoons of cold water and 2 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water. So right now, I want you to get 2 tablespoons of cold water. 2 tablespoons of cold water. Place it in a small cup. All right, I just put mine in a little tiny cup. And we're going to get this ready for when we need it. Get your cornstarch. We need 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. There's so many steps in cooking, isn't there? 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And put that into your little cup of water. 1. Do not add this to the big pan yet. And then we're going to want to stir it up till it's smooth. Nice and mixed in, nice and creamy. Just stirring it around. It's hard to show you without spilling it. All right, I got it all mixed in. I'm going to set that aside for just a moment. All right, so if you would like your parsley in your chicken marsala, you can add it. If you would like your parsley as a decoration on top, you can go ahead and save it. I would suggest to do it at the end to kind of put little sprigs of parsley to make it look pretty. Alright, so here we go. If you, I know some of you are lactose intolerant, you can skip the cream, but I am not lactose intolerant. I do like the way the cream adds richness to this. So I am going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons, 2 of the large spoons of cream. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that. Got 1, 2. I'm going to cover this up. That is cooking down nicely. Give it a nice little stir. It's looking good, guys. then we are going to want to add in 1 tablespoon of butter. By doing that at the end, it gives it a nice little gloss finish. Put that on in. Mix it on up. Give that a few minutes. Watch that butter melt. We are almost done, guys. So kind of take a peek. Make sure you don't see that bouillon cube. It'll be a little hard to see, but that's why stirring. It should be all dissolved by now. All right, so now what we want to do is we have our cornstarch and water. We are going to go ahead and add that and then whisk. You can use a whisk or a spoon and stir that up. Kind of whisk it in there. Get it all stirred up. That's going to thicken the sauce for us. Kind of make it more like a gravy. And we'll let that cook about 2 minutes, and then we are ready to add back in our chicken, and we'll let it simmer for just a little bit, and then we are ready to eat, guys. So we'll wait about another minute, and this is chicken Marsala. So I'd love to have you guys upload into the classroom your finished product, and let me know when you plan on making it next. Feel free to give me suggestions on different recipes that you would like me to create. We can add that into the classroom, and I can also give you a recipe sheet so you can add that to your cookbook that is personalized just for you. And it is yours. Once you guys take the class, you own the cookbook. You can reprint it if you want. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our chicken back in. We're going to let that simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes, and you guys are ready to eat. Thanks so much for joining me in class. Feel free to submit any of your recipe requests, and let's get cooking together. See you soon, guys.